Hi, this is Keigh-Cee from the Teaching and Learning Center. In this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about plagiarism. First, what is plagiarism? According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, plagiarism is to steal and pass off the ideas or words of another person as your own, or to commit literary theft. While this sounds pretty simple, and most of the time we think about plagiarism as just copying and pasting, it isn't so black and white. There are multiple types of plagiarism. The first type is intentional. So this includes copying, passing another person's work off as your own. This includes buying papers, copying and pasting, and self-plagiarism. You can plagiarize yourself if you recycle a paper from another class. This also includes patchwork plagiarism. This is borrowing phrases and ideas and weaving them into your own writing, not using large chunks or a whole essay, but smaller pieces like maybe a couple sentences or a paragraph. And then paraphrasing. Paraphrasing another person's ideas or words without giving them credit is another form of plagiarism, or not changing enough content in a cited paraphrase is technically plagiarism. You can also unintentionally plagiarize. If you don't attribute a source to the correct author, or if you're missing or have an incorrect citation, so if you forget to include the parenthetical citation, or maybe you attribute the information to the wrong source, it can be intentional or unintentional. Missing quotation mark. Even if you have a citation, if you forget to put your quotation marks in, that's technically plagiarism as well. Or misidentifying or not citing common knowledge. We'll talk a little bit more about this later, but just because knowledge might be common to you doesn't mean it's common to everyone. So the bottom line, whether it's intentional or not, plagiarism is stealing. Plagiarism in school can result in the failure of an assignment, failure of a course, or even expulsion. And professionally, it can result in the loss of a job, a weakened reputation, loss of credentials, or even jail time and fines. Bottom line is, if you plagiarize, you're not going to pass. It's incredibly easy for us to tell when there's plagiarism present, and we really kind of know what you sound like. It takes no time at all to realize that there's a switch in tone, maybe a switch in voice from what we normally hear. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. So why is plagiarism stealing? Ideas and words are copyrighted and protected by US law. Copyright is a form of protection provided by the laws of the US Title 17 US Code to the authors of original works and authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and certain other intellectual works. This protection is available to both published and unpublished works. So even if this is not something published online, even if it's, say, an idea or words of someone you know that haven't been published, it's still protected under copyright and you still can't use it. Plagiarism professionally can ruin careers. This is why we care so much about this. It's not necessarily just to be picky in school, but we want to help you professionally as well. Many people have heard of Jill Abramson. She's the former managing editor of the New York Times, and in February of last year, she authored the book Merchants of Truth about the business of news and the importance of truth in journalism. Jill Abramson was also plagiarizing her book, and it went viral on the internet. In a lengthy Twitter thread, a vice correspondent, Michael C. Moynihan, compared multiple passages from her book, which officially came out Tuesday, February 5th of 2019, to passages from articles from other writers, and compared the passages that contain the same information, organized in the same way, and often contain similar sentence structure. Since these were writers, of course, they wrote about it, and they wrote about it a lot. And one person even interviewed her about it. Her response was that she didn't mean to, it was unintentional, and she rewrote the book and republished it. But as you can imagine, this book did not sell well because people didn't think they could trust her. Outside of that, Jill's probably not going to get a job in publishing again anytime soon. This is a pretty serious offense. So outside of just intentionally plagiarizing, there are some gray areas of unintentional plagiarism. That's where quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing can get you into trouble. If you quote, you're going to take an identical segment from the original source. This must be attributed to the original author. If you paraphrase, you're taking the ideas or passages of text written in your own words, which also must be attributed to the original author. If you're summarizing, you're going to put the main ideas of a work or passage into your own words. This is going to be significantly shorter than the original, but again, it must all be attributed to the original author. So how do you avoid unintentional plagiarism? First of all, cite everything. Keep track of where everything comes from when you're writing your essay. Ensure that every quote, paraphrase, or summary includes an in-text citation, and ensure every in-text citation correlates to an entry on your works cited page. When you paraphrase, you have to actually paraphrase the work. Your paraphrase should be mostly your own words, around 85%. And even though it's your words, it's not your idea, so you still have to cite it. This is the end of the first section of this video. Tune into the second section to see a continuation.